two simultaneous equations. Let's number these equations. The question to first ask is, which is the easier of the two equations? Well, it's fairly obvious that I would say that this is the more complicated equation and this is the simpler one. And we can't use that rather nice method when we have two linear simultaneous equations where we can just eliminate one of the variables. Here we've just got to use the result of this equation and pop it into equation 2. I'll put that in a bracket for a good reason, because what I'm going to be doing is wherever I see an x in this guy, I'm going to replace it by 3 plus 2y. We've got an x here. It is the only x to deal with, but it's going to be squared. So we get 3 plus 2y squared. You can see why I popped it into a bracket. It's to remind you that the x is a combined pair of terms. Now the rest is copy and paste. So I'm going to take this 3 plus 2y multiplied together by itself and do a bit of side work. Now my students know this as we've got to multiply out by eyebrows and smiles. We've got to multiply that number by that number by that number, this, and then this. It looks like a face. It's a good way to remember it. Okay, we've just got to turn the handle. First of our eyebrows is 3 times 3, which is 9. Second eyebrow, 2y times 2y, so that's 4y squared. First of the underneath, this is 6y. Luckily, it's all positive, so we don't have to worry about any negative times negative. This is 6y, and we get another 6y. Okay, tidying that up a tiny bit, these two terms can be brought together. So we get, I'm not particularly fussed about the order because I know I'm going to be sorting the order out when I get up here. So we get 9 plus 4y squared plus 12y, and now copy and paste the rest. Now to solve this, which is a quadratic, which is begging to get out, we've got to simplify and then shove everything on the left and make the whole thing equal to 0. We've got to do this in families. Here is the y squared family. So we've got 6y squared. So our first term, 6y squared. The next in line will be the y's. And we've only got one of them, so I can immediately write down plus 12y. Now the numbers. Now the 27 is going to come over because we're going to subtract 27 from both sides. It will become negative 27 on this side. So effectively on this side, we've got 9 take away 27. This will be negative 18. So we've got nothing left on the right-hand side. Now, a poor student, and I know you're not, would go on with these numbers in the equation. But look, we've got a 6 here in front of the y squared, we've got a 12 in front of the y, and we've got an 18. All those numbers are in the 6 times table, and we can divide the whole equation by 6. Now, isn't that nicer to deal with than this? We've got a quadratic here in y, whose solution will look like this. And given the complexity of the question so far, I'm going to guess this will solve quite easily. Now, my method of doing these is to ignore signs for the moment. We need two numbers which multiply together to be 3, whose difference is 2. I think it's fairly obvious that those two numbers are going to be 3 and 1. So I can put in a 3 here and a 1 there. Now, as to signs, we're going to have to generate 2y here. This will generate 3y, this will generate y. But we need the result of those two multiplications to be a positive 2. So hopefully you can see that this needs to be positive and that needs to be negative. Now we come to the clever bit. If this is true, that a term here, which is y plus 3, multiplied by another term, which is y minus 1, is equal to 0, one of them must be 0. So from there, I can say that, well, either y plus 3 is equal to 0, or y minus 1 is equal to 0. So we've now got two more equations to solve, but they're easy. We can just subtract 3 from both sides here and add 1 to both sides there. So we get two solutions. Y is equal to negative 3 and y is equal to 1. We're nearly home and dry, but we've got to put these values here back in equation 1 to get x. So our first solution of x coming over here, x is equal to 3 plus 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And that gives an answer of negative 3. And now we shove in y is equal to 1 in here. X is equal to 3 plus 2 times 1 is 2. And that is equal to 5. And those, if I've done the arithmetic right, are your answers.